everybody. I got my husband Nate here with me today out from behind the camera. We're going to be doing our tomato seed video today, getting ready for our garden this spring and summer. It's February 28th. There's still snow on the ground. It's probably 38 degrees, but we are ready to get some tomato plants started. So we use a Jiffy kit that you can get from Walmart. It's just a plastic black tray. We use these little
peat pellets.
Peat pellets.
It's just peat moss in a netting. They come compressed. You add water to it, they swell up, and then it's just a seed starting medium that you can drop your seeds into to get them to bloom, germinate.
Yeah. So this is what they start off looking like. They're really thin and really hard. We've already got our peat pellets in the tray to get started with our tomato seeds. I've added some warm water to the bottom of the tray, and as you can see, these swell up quite a bit when you saturate them with water. So these are ready to get our seeds put in. I usually do 2 seeds per pellet. We're going to start off with this row and do a Chef's Choice Pink Hybrid.
Yeah, while you plant those, we can explain a little bit about what we're doing, why we do it this way. So tomatoes generally take 10 to 12 weeks to grow into something that's plantable in the garden. Since we live, East Central Iowa, that means we're usually planting tomatoes mid-May, the 2nd or 3rd week of May. So we want to get seeds started indoors if you're going to do this by around the 1st of March. So we start peppers even a little bit earlier. We'll be able to show you that downstairs when we put these on the heat mat. But these will bloom, they'll germinate this week and come up, and then we will go through a transplant process over the course of the next 10 weeks and get them into probably plants that are going to be a foot tall when they grow in the garden. We start seeds for a couple reasons. One, we grow some varieties that you can't find and buy in any big box stores or even most greenhouses. Nikki's planting a hybrid called Chef's Choice Pink. It's a slicer. It's a beefsteak hybrid. It's a pretty prolific tomato. It grows a lot of tomatoes on each plant. They're pretty big. They taste good, and they're just easy to grow. Very disease resistant. The other 2 varieties that we start, one is an heirloom paste tomato called Amish paste. We can and preserve a lot of tomato products, fire roasted tomatoes. We do spaghetti sauce. We do Bloody Mary mix, V8 juice, just all kinds of different tomato preservation with our canning. So the Amish paste is really kind of a cornerstone tomato for us. It's very prolific, huge plants, high yields, and they make big tomatoes with very few seeds. So the other one we start is a tomato that we discovered probably 4 or 5 years ago called Cherokee Carbon. It's a cross, it's an heirloom marriage, cross between a Cherokee Purple, which is an old heirloom tomato, and a hybrid that was developed in the 90s called Carbon. It's a black tomato. When the fruits get mature, they are shades of black, purple, red, and green. It's easily the best tasting tomato that we've ever had. We give a lot of them away and get that feedback from friends and family too, that that's the kind of tomato that turns a BLT into something gourmet or something really special. So we eat them for lunch with cottage cheese. We use it in fresh pico. Do a lot of stuff, and we'll be doing videos on all that stuff this summer. But what we're starting here in this little tray can feed your family and feed your friends for months and months and all the way through the winter. We're still using canned tomatoes and stuff that we did last summer in the cooking that Nikki does every day, even this week and in the next couple months.
When you start these seeds, these little peat pellets have a thin netting around them that tears pretty easy. You can just take it from the top and tear it open a little bit, and I usually just use a wooden skewer and just get the seeds in there and make sure they get buried far enough.
Yeah, so it's a pretty easy process to get it started. We'll get finished up with putting these seeds in these pellets, and then go downstairs and show you guys the light and the heat mat setup that we'll use, and try to get this video finished up and posted. But you know, the idea here is it's cold and it doesn't feel like it, but spring's coming and it's time to get up and get to work on that garden, because you're going to be behind the 8 ball if you're wanting to do some of this stuff and you don't get it done the next few weeks. So for now, we'll see you in a minute.
Okay, so we got all of our tomato seeds planted in the little peat pellets, and we brought them down to our basement where we store them so they will germinate. We put the tray on a 48 by 28 or 20-ish inch heated mat. It keeps them at around 85 to 90 degrees. You just want to make sure they stay warm, and make sure that they're really well saturated. And we can put, this is the lid that we put on top of it just to keep them warm and keep them moist.
It kind of makes its own little greenhouse.
Yeah, it's like its own little greenhouse. These are really inexpensive little kits too. So a couple weeks ago we actually planted some of our poblano peppers, and they're all starting to germinate and doing really well on the heat mat. We keep these, now that they're started to germinate, under this light. And you can tell that they really like that light. We have this light actually on a pulley system. So once they start reaching the top, we can just kind of pull the light up as far as we need it to go and just let them keep growing.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah.
Probably have a follow-up video for everybody to see in the next 3 days, see if we start to get some germination on the tomatoes, and we'll try to do updates once a week or every time there's something worth showing everybody. But by the time we get to mid-May, those plants are going to be at least a foot tall and bushy and looking good.
Yeah, so we hope you do try to start your own tomato plants for your garden. It's very rewarding, and it's something that you can also get your kids involved with. They love watching this stuff grow. It just reminds me of when my kids were little. We did the little eggshell heads. You take off the top of an egg and they can draw a little face on it, and you put the grass seed in some soil in the egg, and it makes it look like hair. My kids always love watching that stuff grow. So yeah, we hope you try this, and we'll be back with you in a couple weeks.